Welcome back to Suburban Black Girl, episode 48. Cheers.
Cheers. Alrighty. Well, we are back again, still on our series. We are now on the third part of our series called The Dilemma of a Woman in Her 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So for this third part, we are talking about becoming her. We're talking about all things healing, self-discovery, and redefining womanhood. Your 30s often marks a spot of a shift from proving yourself to finally becoming yourself.
Ooh, factual.
Yes.
Factual.
I definitely feel that more than ever starting this new decade and chapter in my life of 30 plus.
Yes. Turning 30s. We're speaking from that perspective. 30 and 31 here. I'm sure we'll have new perspectives come mid-30s.
No,
and
you're
late,
so right.
But we have just turned 30 and 31. I wonder how old most of our audience is too. I feel like 20s.
When I
And
look
some-
at the percentage, the height, I think it's more between like the 25 to 30, but
Mhm.
also, we still see like the 30 plus.
Mm,
I feel like the 25 to 35 is like our sweet spot range.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Because, we can all relate in certain ways, right?
Yeah.
All right. How would you define yourself outside of your career and your relationship?
Mostly like a friend, a good, loyal, and reliable friend. I just think is a huge part of my identity and something I take pride in a lot is all of my close relationships. I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm a niece, I'm a cousin, and my friends are like family. So I think I take pride in that and how I show up in my close relationships. I think ultimately is what is most important to me and what matters outside of your career and outside of trying to build a romantic relationship and ride off into the sunset and go and get married. Those are the people that are always going to be constant for the most part. You can have a breakup and you go through friendship breakups or whatever, but for the most part, like your family and your friends that are like family are always going to be constant. And that's really important to me is showing up for those people the most.
Yeah, right? Because, those people have been with you before the relationship, before the career really took off, So it's interesting you say that because I do make sure that like those in my life know where they stand, even though I'm now in a newer relationship, right? Because these people were here before that relationship. And when you become in a relationship at times, obviously you may not be as available. And that's because you're just trying to navigate the new relationship on top of everything else. And I definitely take my title seriously outside of being in a relationship, being like in a work environment, because at the end of the day, I am a daughter, like you said, a cousin, a friend, all those things, and more titles to come in the future eventually, right? But I definitely separate my titles based on who I'm around because it's important for me to be in the moment with that person. And I don't ever want anyone to think like, oh, well, now that you're so busy with work, you don't have time for me. Or now that you're in a relationship, you're not really around, or I can't really call you. So for me, it's trying to make sure everyone feels as though regardless of what's going on, I'm still there if you need me.
Mm-hmm.
But just evolving, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't throw titles on myself. I feel like I'm just all of that, right?
Yes, a multifaceted girly.
Hello.
Indeed.
Hello. Yes. And I enjoy that.
Yeah, and I would say outside of that, I would say I am a young Black woman who is continuing to pursue her dreams, work on herself, and is constantly growing and evolving. If we want to completely like define ourselves outside of any of our close relationships, I would say that is me.
Love that. Yeah, definitely. Do you feel more confident in your 30s than you did in your 20s?
Yes. I think I feel a lot more solidified in who I am or more confident in who I am. And I think as human beings, we're constantly growing and changing and evolving. So I'll probably be different in 5 years or at 35 than I am today. So, but I think I am more comfortable in my own shoes now, more confident in who I am, being unapologetic about that. I think I've always been self-aware in a sense and knew myself, but being just more, being more like confident in the fact that this is me without over explaining myself, without lacking boundaries, being comfortable saying no, being comfortable just standing in my stance on things, being comfortable advocating for myself. I think I've gotten a lot better about that now over the past, couple years than I did in my early 20s, for sure.
Yeah, if you would have asked, the funny thing for me, just thinking of that question, if you would have asked me this question when I was just starting my 20s, I'd be like, there's no way I'm going to feel more confident at 30 plus. Because you feel, society teaches you, oh, your prime is your 20s. But now we're realizing your prime is your 30s and your 40s and your 50s. And so for me, I definitely would say I'm way more confident now. I think for one, it's the financial stability, being able to do the things that I wanted to do in my 20s that I just wanted to do, but I just wasn't able to, right? Finally learning my beauty routine, my fitness routine. Like, it takes time to figure out what works best for you, regardless of like what it comes to, with just upkeeping yourself. My sense in just men have changed, thank God. So that's helped a lot with my confidence, because in my younger 20s, I wasn't making the best decisions when it came to dating. And, I feel a lot better with the choices I make now when it comes to that part of my life.
Yeah.
Friendships too. Definitely way better friendships. I'm not as in much drama or confrontation or feeling as though, is this person really a good friend? Can I count on this person? That takes time too, right? Because in my younger 20s, I was so stuck on the loyalty and, I've known this person since I was in high school or college. Now I'm like, I don't care how long I've known you. If you're not a good friend for me, then I'm good on it. Honestly, it doesn't matter. You can meet someone, like we say, tomorrow that's better for you than you've known for 10 plus years. Time means nothing when it comes to really good female friendships in this day and time. What else?
I don't know, might sound slightly superficial, but your point about making more money now, like, it does make a difference. Because in my early 20s, like, I wasn't keeping my hair done the same way I do now. My nails done, laser hair removal, microblading my eyebrows, like all of those things, yes, sound superficial, but they can affect your confidence. Getting facials, they do make you feel better about yourself in the way you're upkeeping yourself. So I think when you get a little bit more money in your, late 20s, early 30s, you start to feel a little bit better about yourself too.
Yeah.
Maybe you can buy a little bit nicer clothes than you could have before. So yeah, all of that. At the end of the day, your appearance does affect your confidence and self-esteem, whether you want to admit it or not.
No, definitely.
And also being able to afford going to therapy and work on your mental and emotional health then affects your self-esteem and your confidence when you start working on unhealed traumas and things like that. So it all kind of plays into that also. And I think I was like 25-ish when I started therapy, 25 going on 26. So I think that also significantly affected my confidence and self-esteem. So
yeah. And for me, my confidence has grown over time. Like, I've learned to love myself as time goes on. And I'm grateful for that because, confidence to me is just really learning to just love your inner self and embracing your flaws and all, and looking yourself in the mirror and finding ways to, how can I become better? How can I find my, be my best self, things of that nature. So I'm always finding ways to just better myself for myself. And I feel so much better when I do that,
Also, to your point, embracing flaws and all, but also embracing things that other people will make you feel like are flaws, or society maybe makes you feel like are flaws that are not really flaws.
Right.
For me, I feel like growing up feeling like I was more quiet or more shy or whatever it is, and feeling like there's something wrong with that. And now that I've gotten older, I fully embrace that I enjoy my alone time, that I keep to myself, that I like to read the room more and observe people and listen more than I speak. And I've embraced that as a good thing and not, as a bad thing, that I'm just shy or standoffish, when in reality, that's not the case.
Right. Yeah, no, I love that. That's very true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Society may make you think that your quote unquote flaws are flaws, but in all actuality, they're just not.
Yeah. You might just be going against the grain a bit.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Speaking of therapy, how do you navigate therapy, healing, or inner work? How do I navigate it? Well,
What?
It's funny. I feel like when we talk about this topic, you're always like therapy, and I'm like the gym, working out, taking a walk. So that's definitely my main way of just healing and just working on myself. I do go to therapy, but I feel the best when I'm working out. Like that's when I can just really release all my tension, maybe built up anger or stress that I have going on. Like I feel so much better after my workout. So that's something I really prioritize in my life. Church is major for me. I'm definitely big on my word, whether I go in person, I'm watching online. Can't wait to tune in tomorrow. Woohoo, love a Sunday. Also, honestly, kudos to my mother, because I've been needing to call her to just get me together sometime. Like sometimes you have to find that person in your life that really can pull you out of the hole that you're digging yourself in. So for me, like my mom is my 911 call. Like she knows me better than anyone in my life. And so there's times where I'm like, am I wrong? Yes or no? Be honest. And she'll tell me. And that's great because she holds me accountable, and that's, I think that's the biggest thing is when it comes to your healing journey is when you're making that 911 call, make sure that person's holding you accountable. Because I can call a bunch of other people, but are they going to hold me accountable? I don't know about everybody, depending on the situation and how they feel about it, right? There's some bias in that. But my mom knows me better, obviously, because she's my mother. And so I really lean on her a lot. Like her. Very often. So that for me helps me a lot. Also, being in a healthy relationship, you will be challenged, and that will challenge your healing journey a lot. But for me, it's challenged me in the best way possible because I'm able to talk through things with my partner to where I'm like, wow, because this is, your partner, they know you a lot because they're with you all the time. They talk to you all the time. So they're able to read you very, very clear. And so I think, the right person can actually really help you with your healing journey and pull out some of those things where you're like, oh, I didn't know that was, I didn't know that
Told you about yourself?
Yeah. And so for me, that's really been good as well. So just a collective of things. What about for you?
Yeah. What was the question? Because I feel like you didn't fully answer it.
How do you navigate therapy, healing, or inner work?
Okay, so you said how you navigate healing and inner work. Fine. How often do you go to therapy?
Honestly, I only go like once a month.
How long have you been going?
I started a year ago.
Oh, wow. Yes, because we went to that. I remember you were telling me when we went to that thing, the thing with like Kevin O'Leary and all of them.
Oh, yeah. That was around this
That was
summer.
around this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel like it's impacted you?
I definitely think it's impacted me.
Or how did you feel starting before you started, initially starting versus now?
Yeah. I think, my therapist has given me a lot of reassurance of the way I feel. I'm not crazy or, I'm not thinking wrong about how I feel about certain people and the way they treat me in certain situations. And so for me, she's helped me honestly distance myself from relationships I probably would still have in my life today if it wasn't for her. And so for me, that is important with my growth and elevation, There's been some times where she's asked me some really hard questions and we've had to kind of talk through those things. So, it's definitely, I'm not really a vocal person. Like I'm always kind of like, well, what do you have to say? And she's like, no. what do you think? What do you feel? And I'm not used to expressing my emotions like that. So when she challenges me to express like how I feel or how I think, it kind of puts me in a pause because I'm not really used to doing that. I'm kind of easily used to just being like, I can push through it. I can navigate through it. And honestly, that's something that my boyfriend has told me. He's like, Ashlyn, you press things down. Like you don't actually deal with your emotions at times. And I'm like, you're right. And that's what my therapist tells me. Like I can just kind of like sadly find a way to sweep things under the rug and keep going because life just keeps moving. And it's like, no, 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 no. Sit with your feelings, express yourself, and get it out. So I would say that's been a huge challenge for me at times, but I'm finding the words.
I'm finding it. I'm finding it.
Because sometimes you feel things, but you can't put it into words.
Yeah.
Right?
So you mentioned having that person that you can call, that you can vent to, but that is also going to hold you accountable, and that like is your mom for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like your therapist holds you accountable in that same way?
Yeah. No, definitely. I definitely think she does. You know, there's times where I may forget something and she's kind of like, hold on, wait a second. And I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? Which is important. Because, you know, I will definitely find ways to wiggle myself out of it. And she's like, nah, nope, come here.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I did it because it took me so long to finally really start therapy because I'm just like, I'm not ready. Like
What
I really
made you
wasn't
feel
ready.
like you were ready? Because I feel like I've talked to so many people that probably needed it. But
Yeah.
again, you have to go on your own time when you are ready. So what, and there's probably people watching that maybe are like, what made you feel like you were ready?
To be honest, being vulnerable. Like you don't realize how hard it is for some people to truly be vulnerable and put themselves in that mindset of just sitting down, everything stops. I'm literally talking to you and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk about my feelings and think my feelings through. Which is why I don't think I go to therapy as much because I'm like, I don't have time to like really sit down and process everything I feel and think right now. And that's the honest to God truth. And that's something that I'm trying to find a way to like, I can't do that, right?
So you felt like you were ready to start opening up.
Yeah.
And that's what made you be open to starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for me, it was just hard to just even do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if someone asks me randomly, like, oh, how are you? I'll just be like, I'm good. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, girl. Yeah, I'm really not going to do that because I think I do a good job of trying my best to hold it all together. But I don't know. My emotion, it's hard for me sometimes to express emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when you're burying them, and to be honest, I think when I first started, I was going once a week, which is a lot. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was necessary at the time, but even then, like it took a lot, like for me to even cry because I was in a bad relationship where I was just burying things. And now, like I'm such an emotional person that I don't even like recognize that person. Like I can cry very quickly now, but it's because I've just learned to sit with my feelings and feel them and not bury them. But yeah, I wonder if you did go more than once a month, if that would start to get easier for you, you know? Because I'll admit now, I don't go once a week anymore. I go bi-weekly or so. But like, yeah, I think the busier life has gotten, the less I've wanted to open up.
Yeah.
Because, and I forget, this was a couple episodes ago where I was saying I put other things off, maybe like career-wise or starting this podcast or content-wise, but I was working very, very hard on myself. But now I'm working very hard at work. We're doing this every week, this podcast. I feel like I don't have as much energy to try and dig deep on things. So it's kind of an interesting balance. But I also feel like now, because for me, this has been since 2021, I feel like I'm kind of getting to the point now. It's like, okay, I know my traumas. I know my triggers. And sometimes I feel like she's still trying to like bring things out of me. And it's like, I don't feel like I need to cry right now. Like I'm aware of all of this.
Yeah.
What's next? Like now I feel like I'm getting to that point where I'm like, do I need to try a different type of therapy? Like, the ones where they're like really getting deep into your brain of like suppressed things.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, now I feel like I'm just getting to the point where it's like, no, not that I know everything. There's always something to work on. But yeah, I feel like I'm graduating and now I'm like, what now? Like, it's always good to have as a, I don't know, preventative measure as like, there. But I feel like I've been in it long enough and she's given me the tools and I know how to identify. I'm triggered by this. I'm triggered by the way and how you said this because of this from my childhood or whatever it is, or from this past relationship.
Yeah.
I can very easily identify those things and sit with them, sit with my feelings, register it all, and articulate it now. So yeah, sometimes now it can feel exhausting because I feel like she's like still trying to pull things out of me. And I'm like, no, I've registered this.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So I don't know. Maybe I could now pull back to once a month or whatever, but yeah. And also I feel like I needed to constantly be talking to her because I was still making bad decisions.
Right, yeah.
But now I've actually grown and I'm making better decisions. So now I feel like sometimes if I dial in, I don't really have much to share because I'm like, well, I'm not being an idiot anymore. So I don't really have anything to complain about or cry about or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. No, especially, and that's why I go once a month because I'm like, I don't have enough going on right now to where I feel as though I need to go more than once a month. So for me, I set my appointments up based on, okay, I'm ready to talk. Mm-hmm. But of course, if there's more going on, then it's a little more frequent.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, it's also based on that, like what's going on. So, but I did feel like my last session was this week and I was like, an hour wasn't enough because I think we had so much to catch up on. And I hadn't talked in a while to her just because lives. And I literally just have not had a time to really just sit, think, and feel. Mm-hmm. Even though there's some things where she was like, girl. I was like, yeah. So that's a very interesting point that you say. But yeah, it's true. Because I don't think people talk about it enough when it comes to therapy is you have to really like get yourself in that mode to just really sit there and be able to just get through it.
But maybe not, though, because you and I are similar in that way, but not everybody's like that. I feel like some people are open books,
I have some friends like that.
Yeah, so I think it depends on the person, truthfully, because not everybody buries things.
That's true.
So.
No, that is true.
Depend.
Because you have a friend, you're like, girl, what's going on? And you're like,
they're like,
yeah, I'm like, Jesus. No, that is very true. Do you feel women give themselves enough credit for how far they've come?
No. I mean, me personally, and a lot of my friends, we talk about this all the time, where we don't see ourselves how we see each other. And I think we can be hardest on ourselves. We can be our own worst critics. So no, I do think it's important sometimes to look back at where you were 2-3 years ago and be like, oh, damn. Like, I'm not that same person. I'm not in that same relationship. I'm not at that same job. I'm not living in that same city. I'm not making those same mistakes. I'm not lashing out like I used to or whatever it is, so.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I don't realize how far I've come until someone else tells me. Mm-hmm. And I sometimes have to remind myself of, oh, wow, like once you wanted to do this or achieve that. But it is, I think that, because as women, we have so many goals that we want to achieve that we're just like one step in front of the other day by day that we don't realize how far we've come. And, just a society puts a lot of pressure on us, right? Unfortunately. But it's good to have, I think, people in your corner that remind you of like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you're killing it. And those random messages mean the world to you when they come from people that know you and follow you and know your journey, whether it's a friend or a colleague, a family member, right? And those messages mean a lot to me when I randomly get them. I'm like, dang, am I doing enough? But, we are our biggest critics. I definitely know I'm my biggest and my hardest critic.
Okay.
But also I think for me, it comes from having strict parents and having parents that wanted the best for me, but also holding me to a very high standard. My parents have always been like, you're doing good, but you could do better. Mm-hmm. And it's a tough love, but I know my parents love me to death. But honestly, I embrace it because it's always taught me to never be complacent. And honestly, if my parents patted me on the back and said, "You're doing great," and didn't say anything else, I don't even think I would be where I'm at right now. And so I know my parents are proud of me by what they say, but I know that they know deep down inside, like, I can do more, which is why they continue to push me to do more. And so I'm thankful of that. Like, sometimes it's like the tough love, but it's still genuine love to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Yes. It's important to keep striving to be better. I never want to feel like I'm being complacent, but then there's times where you can honestly not even enjoy the now or enjoy living in an answered prayer or take the time to pat yourself on the back for the work that you've already done and what you've already achieved because you're way too focused looking forward. Yeah, and there's moments where sometimes you need to slow down and just be grateful for the current moment. And yeah, I think a lot of us don't do that enough.
We don't, and we need to do it more, but let's be honest, social media has made it so much worse.
Yeah, and I think man, women, whatever, I think we're all rewarded for that, for achieving, right? For growing. And people constantly asking you, what's next? What's next? What's next? And yeah, that can be hard to kind of like.
So what are you up to?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like deprogram yourself. No, nothing's next. I just achieved what I wanted to achieve and I'm basking in it right now. That's what I'm doing.
Wow.
You don't hear anybody say that.
Right.
You know, I was just watching something where it was like people are never satisfied. It's like, oh, when are you going to get into a relationship? Then you get into a relationship. It's, oh, when are you going to get engaged? Then it's, oh, when are you going to get married? Then it's, oh, when are you going to start having kids? And
you're so right.
it's never just a, oh, are you enjoying? It's always what's next. You
right. Know? Just say you're happy for me and just end the conversation.
Yeah. So I think it can be kind of hard to turn that off and just say, actually, nothing's next because I'm enjoying this current moment. Thank you.
I actually love that response. Let's practice that. I love that. Like, imagine the reaction you would get. People be like, "Oh,
so what's next? Nothing."
With a smile.
Nothing right now, actually. How about you?
Oh my gosh. I'm sure someone would never ask that question again. How do you balance your softness and your strengths in this season?
Softness and strengths. I guess what comes to mind is just time and place.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, like turning that on and off when necessary. At work with my team now, because I'm building out my team, like I would say they're both very good at their jobs. So I don't really need to be like laying down the hammer or anything. So I like when it comes to being a manager, I feel like I take more of a nurturing and like empowering approach. And I would say that's where I'm like more soft. Like I like to, make them feel empowered and like they have ownership over their work, that I'm not like looking over their shoulder. But then when it comes to like my strengths or maybe having to be a little bit more stern, I leverage that for like when I have to speak up in a meeting and advocate for like me or my team, or just advocating for myself and wanting to be promoted, things like that. And I would say outside of work, like I prefer to be my normal, soft, whatever self. But then sometimes you have to be a little bit more strong and set boundaries with people or whatever the case may be. So I think it's just time and place. But I also think the biggest thing that I've always lived by is like never letting people get you out of character. Like I always like to remain in my softness and who I am. And so having to be strong or whatever and set boundaries, but not letting anybody get me out of character to me is something I try to do and succeed in most of the time. And there's been times where it's like you crash out and you feel perfectly fine after. But for me, most of the time, if I get out of character, I don't feel better afterwards about it because I'm more upset at myself for letting that person get me there.
Yes.
You know, about it. So I try to just maintain being me.
It's definitely a balance for sure. You definitely have to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off because you don't want to be walked over, but then you don't want to be seen as the aggressor, right? Especially as a Black woman. We definitely have to know when to turn it off, when to be softer, and then when to be, you know, have a little more strength or show more of like, don't play with me. Like, so I think the question, sadly for us, we do have to question, do we show that side, yes or no, in that moment compared to our non-Black counterparts, unfortunately. And, you know, we're faced that in the workplace, just outside in public, everywhere. And so it's so important to maintain your cool and just being in control of your emotions. We talk about it all the time, but it's so important. Like, I think that's the one thing I live by is being in control of my emotions. And I'm big on like letting go and giving it to God. There's times where someone may win that battle, but in all actuality, they do not. Because at the end of the day, they got out of character and you did not. And you just have to remember that. Like, I'm so big on that too. Like, what? Like, the way people crash out when I don't give in to their nonsense is hilarious. Like, I literally be laughing because I'm like, I'm not getting down to your level. I'm just not doing that. I'm not going to upset myself so much because for me, I'm really a chill person. So if you get me out of character where I'm so upset, it's like I am so angry.
Yeah, I get mad at myself because I'm
Yes.
like, no.
I'm like literally so angry. Like I'm getting hot. My body's overheating. So
Yeah.
like I know my temper is out of this world. Therefore, I'm like, I do not get to that point. I have shit to lose. I'm not trying to get myself to the point where I could cancel my own self. So I'm cautious of that. And you have to remind yourself of that. Like when you're getting into certain conflicts with people, who has more things to lose? And typically the person crashing out does not.
To be honest, that is the number one thing that will keep me calm in any situation is I have things to lose. Like, you'll never see me in public, nothing, get out of character, whatever, because I'm good on being behind bars. Like, I'm so sorry. No, thank you. I'm employed. I don't need my mugshot on the internet. No, thank you. So I think constantly remembering you have things to lose will keep you from being in very stupid situations. I literally have been in a situation. I was in New York City. It was St. Patrick's Day. And don't ask me why, I was in line for this freaking Irish bar. And all of my friends were like further up in the line, but I had gotten there later. So I'm like trying to get up closer to them. And this girl gets so upset. And she had to have been drunk. I don't know, but this was also the height of Trump because it was like 2016, 2017, his first term. And she literally slapped my glasses off of my face.
Huh?
Yes.
Why?
Because she was just mad. And the self-control I had to have, because this girl was petite, she was shorter than me, she was white. And if I would have reacted, again, this was Trump 2016 time, I would have been the one to go to jail. And everybody's looking at me like random strangers in line, because I'm not even with my own friends, like, oh my God, she really just did that and you're not reacting. Because I knew what the consequences would be if I would have then socked her in the face.
Yeah.
And I actually take pride in the level of self-control I have, because for somebody it's one thing to push, for somebody to hit your arm, for you to touch my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she damn near spat on you.
Yes. But for me, that's sadly instantly where my mind, I mean, I guess that's not a bad thing. My mind doesn't instantly go to my mind goes to, oh, I don't want to go to jail today.
Right.
You know, so that's the thing. But also I think whether you're in a corporate environment or relationships, whatever, I always feel like women get the reputation of being more emotional. And I feel like that's also part of it, is where like you just want to prove people wrong and not be, when people expect you to react or whatever, you don't even want to give them that satisfaction of that reputation, because it's annoying.
Yeah, because it's just a Black woman. Oh,
exactly. They're waiting for us to crash out and make a scene and be ghetto.
They're waiting for it. That's why it's so hard sometimes to swallow the pride, because I'm like, yep, you're not going to get me.
Gotta crash out when you get home.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe healing is a destination or is it a journey?
You get over one hump and you might feel like, oh, I'm good. No, there's always something to work on. Literally always something to work on. And I don't know sometimes if wounds ever really heal or if they just start to hurt less and less and less, you know?
Mm.
So yeah, it's a constant journey, and things get easier over time, but then there's going to be new things that hurt you or new triggers that come up. And I think we're constantly growing and evolving as people, and we're constantly learning and relearning ourselves. So I think it's definitely an ongoing journey for sure. I also think that's why therapy is important, even if you are talking just once a month, because it's like you can feel good one day, but something is going to come up, you know? And I almost look at it as preventative more than anything, whether you're going alone or even if it's like couples therapy. Nothing might be wrong right now, but it's just kind of like a prevention thing, or it's like just a checkup. It's like going to the doctor yearly, a checkup for your mental.
No, yeah, definitely. And there's been times where I've thought, oh, I'm over it.
No.
And then I'm
something comes and triggers you. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And I'm like, damn, I'm not over that.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely no. Healing is definitely a journey, but it's important to work through it and grow through it, right? And not just sit in it. You do feel better eventually over time, but yeah, definitely. And the thing about the triggers is you don't know when you're going to be triggered, and you don't really know what is going to trigger you. Like there's been times I've been triggered and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that was going to be the thing to set me over the edge, right? And so you have to be mindful of those, right? When your triggers do come and they do hit. Like, I don't think there'll ever be a day where I'm like, oh, I'm fully healed. I'm my best self.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's always going to be areas that I can improve in and heal from.
Mm-hmm.
Just because no one's life is perfect. No one's had the perfect upbringing. We all have our struggles and things that we've been through. So, those are things we all have to work through. Our situations are different, but we all still have healing that we need to do.
Definitely.
What toxic family or cultural patterns have you broken?
Well, I would say one, maybe even the idea of going to therapy. I feel like it's just still such a stigma in the Black community, and people are like really aren't open to it like that. So I would say that for sure.
For me, it's what we were talking about earlier about therapy. Is in my family, it's sadly sweeping things under the rug and keep pushing even though there's conflict. So that's something that I'm really trying to unlearn, and I've been better about it, but it's definitely an area that I need to improve on for sure. Just because in my family, a lot of my family members, it'd be drama and they just sweep under the rug, distance themselves, act like that person doesn't exist, that thing doesn't exist, and moves forward with life. But that's not healthy. It's definitely not healthy. And so I'm learning how to better communicate when there is tension. We're not just going to walk away from the situation. It's like, can we just talk this through? And if we need to go separate ways after, like, let's do that. But let's not come back around when the dust has settled and we move on, but we haven't talked about what happened in the past, because eventually it's going to come back around. That same situation, if you don't talk through it, it's going to come back around, but in a different form. So I'm definitely big on like overly communicating now and trying to find ways to do that better, even if it feels uneasy, because it's hard to talk about those things when there's tension, right? Because emotions are involved, feelings are involved, and then you don't know how the other person's going to take it. But also I would say, take a minute, breathe, think your feelings through. That way, when you come to the table to talk about it, you're not so aggressive. You know what I mean? Like, feel your feelings first and then talk to that person. Because when you haven't felt your feelings first and you go and talk to that person, it's just going to be rah, rah, rah. Like, y'all both going to be yelling. And that doesn't solve anything at all.
I agree with that. And I think that's honestly just a thing in the Black community, period.
Yes.
I feel like you can like be screaming at each other, and then 5 minutes later, people want to act like things are fine.
Yeah.
And I fully agree with that, because me today, I want to talk about it, because you might be over it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not, because I don't like what you just said.
Yeah.
And maybe even that's where starting to bury things where it's learned, because if everybody's over it in 5 minutes and you're not given the opportunity to like let your feelings out, then you're just going to bury it too.
Yeah.
And unlearning, burying things, that's definitely something that I've been doing more, is just like, okay, can we talk about this now because I'm not over it, even though you want to act like everything's fine because that was an hour ago. I don't care.
No, literally, like
I'm still upset.
yes.
So I fully agree with that.
Yeah, like that's a huge thing for me because I'm like it's been so passed on from generation to generation in the Black community where I think our generation is like we are not doing this anymore because we don't want to take this on or carry this through another generation. You know, it's kind of that shut up mentality, right? It's just like shut up, suck it up. It's like no.
Yeah.
Express how you feel. Like I cannot read your mind.
Yep.
What's one thing you no longer tolerate in your 30s?
I guess the combination of everybody has flaws, right? I guess I'm losing patience with people who are just not working on themselves now. It's like, because I'm very patient, I show a lot of grace, but it's like, okay, what are we doing to fix this? What are we doing to work on this? And I think people that, just want to remain stagnant and not work on themselves and their own flaws, I'm good off that. And when I say that, it's like a lot of maybe people that might trigger me emotionally because they're all over the place emotionally or out of control of their emotions, right? It's like, okay, what are you doing to work on this? There's no place for that for me in my life right now because life is hectic, work is hectic, whatever. And I need my close circle, close relationships to be a safe space. And that doesn't mean you're not going to have disagreements or argue. But I think for me, like, I don't have patience anymore for people that don't have conflict resolution skills or that handle conflict very immaturely. And to what we were talking about a couple episodes ago with friendship red flags, like people that want to handle conflict by subbing or lashing out, whatever, to me, that's no more.
Definitely, because it's like that's so uncalled for. Like, be so for real. Please text or call me. Like, this is unnecessary.
And I think it's okay to take cooling off periods to calm down, to gather your thoughts, but then let's come together and talk about it.
Yeah.
Like mature adults.
My patience for people is just a lot. My patience is a lot thinner. Like, it's like I just do not have time for that. And it's just too much going on to be dealing with drama and extraness. It's like, please, like work on yourself and then no offense, come back to me. One thing I'm no longer tolerating in my 30s is half-ass relationships, half-ass friendships, half-ass anything. I know that I give what I can give. And so it's like, if you're not meeting me where I'm at in the middle, then it's like, why? That's not fair to me to exert all this time and energy and you're not doing the same. Or if the shoe's on the other foot and I know I would do this for you and then it's time for you to show up for me and you don't, then it's like, I no longer want to deal with people like that. That's one of those things that's definitely something big with me, is setting those hard boundaries with people. And, you know, I have love for so many people in my life, but if you just can no longer come through the way I come through for you, then we're just not compatible.
Agreed. Reciprocity, as we always talk about.
Do you believe confidence grows naturally with age?
I fully think that depends on how much you're working on yourself. Because you can maybe, but I think you have to put in the work. Because you can definitely see grown women who are way older than us that still are very insecure within themselves. I think it can, but I also think it requires working on yourself, and whatever that looks like, building up your self-esteem, you know, all of that. So working on your traumas, working on your outer appearance, removing people around you that maybe put you down and make you feel more insecure. So I think a lot of it can require work and not just age, and that's with anything. Maturity does not come with age. So I think self-confidence kind of falls in that same boat. It's not necessarily like you wake up a few years later and you're all of a sudden more confident. It's things have happened, you've worked on yourself, you've learned lessons, and now you're more sure of yourself, you're more self-confident through that work and through those experiences.
How do you handle comparison with women that are on different timelines?
Who's comparing? Are we comparing ourselves? Yeah, I try not to do that. I think it can be hard, right? Being online and scrolling and being like, damn, how is she doing that? Especially when it's somebody your age. I think can be hard to not feel behind. But then I also get motivated seeing women that are like 35, 36, 38, and like they're where I want to be. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'll be there in a couple more years. So I think it can be hard. We're all on God's time, you know, and I think the way that I try to look at it is what is it? The bigger the, oh, yes, here it is. The weight of your calling or assignment determines the weight of your calling or assignment.
I like that.
So the heavier the weight, the bigger the blessing, the longer the wait. And sometimes I just remind myself of that, is like, my time is coming and it's because my blessing is just so massive that I have to wait longer. And you even see it with social media, right? Like sometimes people blow up overnight and their careers can die out even quicker. Yeah. Whereas if you are really hoping and praying for longevity, then it's going to take you longer to build up to that, you know? So I think I just remind myself that the heavier the weight, the longer the wait.
If you're trying to compare yourself to another woman and their timeline, let's be honest, not everyone is being truthful of how they got there, or you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. And, you know, there's been times where we see the behind the scenes eventually, and it's like, wow, we thought that situation was so cool or so good, and you realize what that woman was going through. So I'm big on never comparing myself to any other woman, because you really truly don't know what a woman has done or what she's had to put up with to get there. Not saying that every woman has done that, but you do have to take that into consideration when you're comparing yourself to anybody.
That, but also that on the flip side is a lot of times people appear to be overnight success stories, but they've really been showing up consistently every day for 5-10 years when no one was watching, when their views were low or whatever it is. And it appears to the rest of the world that just heard about them that they blew up overnight, when in reality they've been consistent and locked in and just waiting patiently for years and years and years. And we were just talking about this, is how, a lot of us in our generation, and I've even been guilty of it, of just like wanting instant gratitude. And no, sometimes you got to put in the work for 10 plus years before something pops off. So
no, and definitely, because for me, it's like I'm playing the long game. Like, I don't want it today and then it's gone next week. It's like, when I want it forever.
Right. And that's like when we had Haley on, and she is 27 now. And she said, you know, and people know her from Power, which was over the past couple of years, but she's been working since she was 9 years old, and she was on Broadway and all of these things. But people know her from Power and feel like she blew up instantly. But in reality, she's been working. You know, she talked about how she was doing pageants and just trying to be a part of anything she possibly could to get exposure. And that's what it takes.
Exactly. No, and that's very true. Because you hear it all the time, like overnight success. Not really overnight. I think a lot of people have done the work, and it's like, hey, it's finally their time and they're shining. Today's mantra moment is: becoming her isn't about perfection. It's about permission. Permission to heal, to grow, to unlearn, and to show up as the woman you were always meant to be. You are not behind, you are becoming.
Ooh, period. I love that. You are not behind, because a lot of us feel like we are.
Yes. It's so easy to feel behind, but it's like, you're not. You are on your path. You're on your journey.
Yeah, definitely need that reminder.
Yeah, I needed that myself.
Yeah, seriously. Well, thank you for tuning in to part 3 of our series. We have one more part. Dang, we went through that fast. We're already on part 4 next week. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Follow us on all platforms at Suburban Black Girl Pod. Email us at suburbanblackgirlpod@gmail.com. DM us, all of that. Send us your testimonials, your thoughts, comments, all of that. And we'll see you next week.
Yes. See you guys next week. Bye.